So with a breathing drill, so what we're going to do, we call this 90-90 breathing. So we've got a 90-degree knee bend and a 90-degree hip bend roughly, okay? So pop your feet up on top of something. Now, this is an active position rather than a passive or a rested position. So you're not just kind of flopping your legs. You're going to actively hold yourself with the toes towards you. So once you're in that position, your knees are directly above your hips. You don't want to be back here, so make sure you've kind of scooched yourself in. You're then going to try and kind of keep your neck long. So there's a slight chin tuck. Now, it's an individual thing, so if you're very tight back here, you might actually need a cushion or something to put your head on, just to raise it up a little bit to be more comfortable, and just so you can get a little bit of a chin tuck. Whatever is a little bit of a chin tuck for you is fine. We want a nice wide chest in this position, rather than being kind of rounded forward, so chin tuck. And then we want to try and keep our ribs down, as opposed to being lifted and flared up. Now that might be hard for you to get a sense of initially at the start, but this breathing is going to help with that. So what you're going to do is breathe all the air out through pursed lips. So I'll show you what that looks like. And that actually starts to flatten the ribs and pull them down. We then breathe in through the nose, trying to breathe wide into the ribs, the outside of the ribs. So you're breathing wide, and then breathe all the air out. And the pursed lips, the tension there forces the muscles here to contract, to try and kind of force the air out of the lower portion of the lungs and come back out. And that's why that resistance is important, because if it's not there, these muscles don't have to contract, which means they won't pull the ribs down, they won't tighten up. So very good kind of to get your breathing right. It's much easier to use your core muscles effectively if you're breathing well. So it's breathing all the air out through pursed lips, in through the nose. And you're trying to fill, so when I say breathing wide, you're trying to get the breath going wide, which will help kind of fill from the front and the back. It's a 360-degree breath on the way in, so we're trying to fill all the way through here, as opposed to breathing very much up in the chest. And if we breathe in through the chest, the shoulders will lift, and we'll breathe with all their accessory muscles up here, which will actually cause them to be overworking, and therefore will get achy and sore and tired and tight. Which obviously we're trying to kind of reduce that. So that's why we have that neck long, and we're trying to get all the breath through here to relax everything in the upper portion of the torso. So I'll show you a few more. Foot clocks, what we're going to do is basically imagine you're standing in the middle of a clock face. So we're going to bend the knee and reach the foot over to 12 o'clock, and then come back to center. And then what we start doing is just tapping each hour. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and we come back to center. 4 o'clock, always back to center. 5 o'clock, back to center. 6 o'clock, back to center. Then we're going to sweep back to 7, back to center, across to 8, back to center. 9, we're kind of lunging down into it, and then straight leg, 10, 11, and then 12, and that's 1 rep. And what we're trying to do is you're just tapping the toe down at each hour. We're not actually shifting the weight. So all the weight should stay on the standing centered leg. Obviously it's going to challenge your balance, but as you're coming out to it, you're bending the knee. 3 o'clock, back to center. 4 o'clock, and we're trying to open up the hips and the pelvis. But in order to do that, we need rotation in the actual movement in the foot, rotation in the ankle, and rotation in the hip. A little bit in the knee, but not a huge amount. And that's going to help with stability and balance when we're especially in these areas. And then back over to here. So again, strengthening up all the way from the foot up through the hip, through the body. Half kneeling windmill. We set up on one knee, the other foot forward, ankle underneath the knee roughly. Make sure you're not in a tightrope position. So we're going to have a bit of balance by taking the foot out a bit wider, and then the back foot can scooch across as well, and that's kind of going to give you the most balance. Now, let me show you from this angle here. So what we're going to do is, whichever side your front leg is, that hand goes up into the air. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lean and tilt our weight away from this front leg side as our hips slide over and push over this side, and then come back up. Helps to look to the top hand. Imagine you're holding like a glass of water or something, like let's say a kind of wine glass full to the top, or of wine, and don't let it spill. So we're going to keep this arm fairly straight rather than letting that arm kind of sway side to side. That's up. And you can build your range of movement. I'll show you on this leg that you can build your range of movement with this hand, and it can reach down lower, kind of closer towards the inside of the knee here, towards the floor. You don't have to touch the floor, just build your range. And make sure when you're coming back up that the hips come back in underneath. So it's hips to the side, back up, hips move that way, and you tilt and lean that way. So you got lots of movement in the hip and stretching out through the lower back. Leg lowering, we're going to start with both feet up in the air, toes towards you, push the heels away, make sure you're getting a stretch. Once you hold that position, then breathe out, in, alternate the leg, out, in, keeping the leg dead straight. Like so, floor cogs, we're going to set up lying on our back with our knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And there's 3 movements we're going to do with this. One's for the shoulders, one's for the head, and one's for the pelvis. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the pelvis and the head. So you have 2 bones at the front of your pelvis, and you got, let's say, a line across there. Call that your belt line. A good thing to think about is imagine you've a belt buckle, a big belt buckle there. We're going to try and move that belt buckle. That's going to be then connected to the chin. So wherever this belt buckle moves, the chin is going to go in the same direction. So I'm going to tilt these 2 bones forward. So that belt buckle is going to end up pointing down this way, and the chin comes with it. Then I'm going to reverse the movement. So these 2 bones are going to tuck up towards my head, and my chin is then going to go with them. So as I tuck up, the lower back gets pushed into the floor. Now I'm not lifting up at all. I'm just, and as I'm tucking my chin, I'm kind of sliding my head, back of my head along the floor. So I'm making my neck long, and then making my neck short and long and short. Now, what we do with the hands then is, as we tuck the chin, make the neck long, make the chest wider, and rotate the hands out. So shoulders rotate around, palms turn out, and then reverse the movement. Roll the shoulders in. Neck long, wide chest, tilt the pelvis forward, and then turn, tuck the pelvis up, chin up, roll the shoulders in. Breathe through it, try not to hold your breath. Slowly through. Blackburns, we're going to lie facing the floor. Again, keeping your neck nice and long, chin slightly tucked. Let's start with the hands behind the lower back, like so, fed across the lower back. We initiate the movement by lifting the elbows and the shoulders up, and then sweeping the hands out. As they come out, keeping the elbows straight, we're going to get to roughly shoulder height, and then turn. So the palm and the elbow are trying to turn up towards the roof, and then we're going to come up and finish in a Y shape here. Then we come back. As we get to the shoulders, we turn in, and cross the body. So elbows and shoulders up, head staying looking down, turn, finish, return. Elbows up, shoulder together. Trying to keep the upper arm as high off the floor as possible. Like so. For your prisoner squat, interlink your fingers behind the head, elbows out. Try and keep them out. This requires, it's going to put more pressure from the upper body, so it's going to try and pull you forward. So it's going to help strengthen the core and the upper back. So elbows out, squat down, back up, squat down, back up,